call the meeting to order. Thank you all for being here today. Pam, can you verify we have a quorum present this evening?
There is a quorum present.
Very good. Moving on to adopting our agenda this afternoon. Need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you. The minutes from the February meeting, Carly told me today, as you all know, she moved her office, or not by choice, but her office has been moved to another part of the building, and she's still in the boxes, so she did not locate the minutes in time to get them prepared for the meeting. There's nothing on those minutes or from our last meeting that needs to be voted upon, so having said that, we would entertain a motion to table those minutes to be approved at the next, the April meeting.
Make a motion to table the minutes from February's meeting until next month.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Before we drop into new business, I'll just read our mission and vision statement as a reminder to us all. The Jasper Downtown Development Authority, by supporting the city of Jasper, its citizens, and its businesses, instills a sense of community pride and improves the quality of life for all. And our vision, the Jasper Downtown Development Authority will support a vibrant and thriving downtown community through planning, commitment, and collaboration to build a legacy that lasts. Before we go any further, I would ask Mr. Don to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jack. Any public comments this evening? No, hearing none.
No 5K challenges or
No 5K challenges.
Thank God.
Hearing none. We'll move on to our committee updates. Organization. I have nothing unless someone else from the organization committee has anything to add.
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. Design.
Yeah, so let's see, myself, Brian, and Morgan met in March, earlier in March. Just some stuff that we went over. Hopefully you all have the papers that I printed out. Let's see, so we decided to table the facade improvement program for right now. Obviously, it's within our 3-year plan, so we will get to that just for right now, letting you know it's tabled. We will apply for a grant through PACA when they become available for public art and murals. We discuss concepts like, historical things on different walls downtown. Morgan is on the PACA board, and I just put on here, we'll begin conversations with PACA. I know you had your board meeting after ours. Did anything come up with that?
I actually had a separate meeting with PACA and was able to discuss the art festival that we talked about. They're 100% on board for that. Not this year, but they want to plan it for next year. The dates and everything that we had discussed. As far as the mural goes and the grants, I didn't speak to them about that yet.
Okay, I know that, that's later in the year anyway when they do that, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't even be till, like the end of the year.
Okay.
When they do the grants, so.
Alright. Let's see, I put on here the key public spaces. I think we identified them before, but just to have them on paper, North Main, South Main, Perot Park, Peace Park, Hensley Plaza, Whitfield, and the Pickett parking lot. I didn't know if we do have an update about Whitfield, the bollards on Whitfield. Brandon, do you know anything? I know those were supposed to come. Are they coming? Do you know?
Me or which Brandon would you like?
Doug?
Mr. Douglas.
So we're meeting next Tuesday's committee to finalize in terms of part of, I didn't pull the trigger on them immediately since it didn't seem like there was a big push to utilize that space, after the DA direction, so we just kind of sat on it. But
Okay.
we're gonna talk about it next Tuesday in terms of, cause it's a pretty substantial investment, believe it or not. Way more expensive than I probably had remembered. But if you extrapolate, 10 versus 50, it can get a little expensive, so.
And I think we were just waiting on our side to see, like, I was apprehensive to plan stuff back there without them. So I guess we're just,
But we also too, I mean, we blocked it last year for cornhole using barricades that we have. So in the meantime, if there is anything that we're planning, I imagine we can look at that for barricades until they come in. So I
okay.
don't want that to stop you.
Park your truck.
Yeah, pull the truck up.
Your truck?
State Farm will cover it. No, sorry. But we'll, yeah, we are meeting next week down there. And also too, looking at some of the other areas that you mentioned here, for the public spaces.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I have the stuff that we need to vote on, so Morgan just talked about the art festival, so obviously we won't have to vote on that tonight, and I didn't mean, we'd add that to our calendar even this year, but looking next year and getting a calendar together, that's definitely something that I would want on there. In conjunction with Marble Festival that weekend. Let's see, something that Brian had brought up in the meeting was making a big banner or multiple banners to possibly go over Highway 5 or at city limits. I did talk to Eric Reinhardt about different pricing and everything, so and I don't know how big of a banner you would need to go over a road, if that's even feasible. Just saying, but his prices range, if they're larger than a 4x8, it's about $350 a square foot. He said that if y'all remember the art walk banners that you see when those come to town, those are like a 3x10. So pricing on that would be about $105 per sign, just to keep in mind. And his turnaround time is 5 to 7 business days. So just letting y'all know. I didn't know if that's something that we needed to vote on, wanted to vote on, etc. Discussion, I don't know.
$3.50 a square foot, yes.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you.
Be clear.
Oh, sorry.
Gold plated sign.
With that price, I'm assuming that's like full color.
Yeah, he
If
said,
we want
and-
it to be the entire banner, it can, like, we don't need anything extravagant, we just do.
correct, and he
maybe
said
one
he would,
color.
he has a design background, and he was like, I can design something for you, you can send me artwork, it's really up to you. And he even said, he can work on pricing even, but that's what he typically charges.
And for the record, I have Corel Draw and all of that. So if we need to do the artwork, we can, I can send it in whatever format he needs it. EPS, it can stretch it over the city of Jasper and it would never lose its clarity, so.
And my big reason for bringing this up is because I know Coke has traditionally done our banners for, the stage and everything, so, but their turnaround time is pretty long, and I know getting these sponsors, getting their artwork and everything, there's no way we would have that banner in time for the first concert. I don't think anyway. I mean, y'all may, I'm sure you've talked to Coke, I have no idea the reality, but I'm just thinking out loud. So that's just an option. So I didn't know if we need to vote on that because I have no specifics other than that.
My general recommendation to the board would be, until our financials come more into clarity, that we probably not
Expend any more money, I get it.
at this stage.
Okay.
That'd be my,
I'm just throwing it out there as a possible option, either now or in the future.
Probably good to find out too what we can do and where we can put them.
yeah, where they can hang.
They have a wire and they take Main Street there.
Put them over 53 is a animal and put them over the street.
That's true.
Where you can put them, how long you put them up, how long can they, how often around they got, a lot of things, how you gonna hang them.
all those logistics, I'm not gonna disagree with all the program, but there's a lot of logistics to figure out what you can and can't do before you can go. You can get processes and do logistics, but
Or if it's, will do any good. I mean, I feel like if you're from Pickens County, you know about Marble Fests, and so who you're promoting to yourself, or people already know.
Well, usually that's kind of where the thought process came from. Usually Marble Fest, they will put the banners up. And like, one of the wires that they hang it on is right there, just, I want to say it's on 5 coming into town.
Like by the church or something.
Yeah, passing the old high school, you go up past it, and instead of, like where the Methodist Church Cemetery is,
Right.
there's a wire right there, you can see it hanging up.
Right.
And it's just like a guy wire running between 2 poles. And
I don't know if they've done it recently or not.
I never look at them because I'm here, so I usually hear about things that are coming in, but there's usually, that's where they'll hang. I think I've seen them there for like Flapjack Run and things too. But anyways, that's kind of the thought process behind that was maybe one there, maybe one closer to 515. You know, a little bit closer to have one there. But something that can be seen to help kind of draw people back into downtown. And that was the thought about like putting it over 53 was as people pass through.
you just gotta get state permission, anything over the state highway.
Well, but 53 runs where
That's 53 all the way, all the way to town.
it comes, that's through town. So, but they have to get permission every time they hang something over there on that one that's already existing there.
Yeah, you gotta identify it.
That's why we went to the electronic signs, because
Yeah.
those are mobile and you don't have to have, you got to have right of way off the road and
Yeah.
get them from the county or whoever they has them at the time, but
Because I'm
that's why we went for that versus hanging it across the flat and, yeah,
Yeah.
those are good to have, but you gotta have their permission to do it.
Man, it was just part of the
Good
discussion.
idea, I mean, I'm not against the idea, it's just, that's a,
But we'll table it for now until we have a better understanding of funds and such.
Yeah.
The same might be true for wayfinding signage, so I put on here, what do you want on it? Do you want the logo on it? Do you want welcome to historic downtown Jasper, downtown Jasper with an arrow? Cause there's so many different options and I feel overwhelmed with all the, I can't just pull the trigger without all of your input, so.
These are the brown signs that we were discussing.
It can be anything, they can be brown signs, they can be whatever
Green,
signs.
It can be whatever color.
They can be purple, they can be rainbow colored, it is up to you.
I would, my sort of general feeling about signage is that we take a step back from that and sort of look in a larger capacity of all the signs that we already have. I think we talked about that earlier today about, and I know one of the things we did is we set up that April 20th meeting with the idea of receiving feedback from our Main Street partners, to see what they would like to see. That'd be a great topic for us to add to the agenda.
Since I will not be there,
Yeah,
I, if you could bring that up, that'd be great, and
Yeah.
then we can go from there.
because I think what we've always been about is really trying to bring in the opinions of our Main Street businesses and our boundary businesses, and so I think that falls in line with that. And what are things they would like to see? My mind goes everywhere from like, if you want your business listed, is there a fee to be on there? Is it shopping, or is it,
Right.
your specific store name? Is it historical things like? And I think we should ask their opinion, so I think we could have that.
And that's why I'm everywhere
Give
in
you-
my head too.
And narrow it down a little bit from there.
That works for me. And I believe that's all for the design committee, unless Brian or Morgan had something to add.
All right, thank you very much. Good work, gang. Economic development, I have nothing to add.
The one thing I had today, able to connect with our city manager, and so we're gonna look at that directory to see, how can we sift through to build that that map, the Main Street America map, and see who's all in and see what kind of information we can capture from the business license. So that is on the radar, and we're gonna get that handled.
We're calling that a downtown property development inventory, is that the same?
Correct, yes, sir, yep. But I feel like it can feed so much more, right? I feel like it can be more than that, so it just depends on what's all captured on that Excel file and what information, again, we can snag from it. So we're still tracking on that and hoping to make some moves here over the next month.
Very good. Marty, anything to add? Okay, very good. Promotions?
All right, so that was me, Marty, and Brian. You can see we discussed a bunch of different things. I'm not gonna go over all of them because some of them you guys already know, like various times of events. One thing that came up, and I don't even know if this would be the correct committee, but and it's gonna sound a little bit silly, but can the development committee identify city property to plant corn and or hay on to use for decor, so we wouldn't have to spend additional funds for, you know, like we use a bunch of corn and hay during Halloween and all that kind of stuff. Just throwing it out there.
To plant corn?
Brian can take
hay?
all
We
this.
were talking about this somewhere last year.
Hay?
Not hay, but like, obviously, we don't want to have to bale hay, but like, the thought was, like in the fall, instead of, because funds are limited.
When we
And
bought
so
the corn?
We
for
bought the corn
Fall
stalks
thing.
and we did all, corn stalks. Most mountain towns and areas are gonna have corn, places set up for photos, whatever in their downtowns, and it's welcoming. I mean, you walk in and it feels like fall
Yep.
because it looks like fall. It can be 90 degrees out there, but it doesn't matter, it still looks like fall. And so, is there a city property that we could just plant some corn stalks on, and then we don't have to buy anything, we would just have them?
I might be able to help out without having to worry about leveraging city property, someone having to go out and plant. I think can get stalks for us, so if you don't mind, we can just table that until next month and I can.
Yeah, it's not, it was
update on
just
there.
part of the discussion.
So I think I can handle that and just get
Like I said,
a whole
I
truck
timed
bed
everything that we
full of
discussed.
dried out corn stalks and bring them in.
Okay,
I like it.
let's see, that was done, y'all can look that on your own time. We need a vendor map and layout for, Perot Park, just to see how many vendors and stuff that it can hold and to not oversell plots, but that's something that Carly may be working on already, but since it's something that we discussed, I put it on here. Also, there was a question, will Perot be rented out for a fee? And if so, will the DDA have access to those funds? Is that something that we would be doing? Like, I don't know how they handle renting of other parks, if it's all free, if that's even gonna be an option for Perot. I didn't know if anyone had an answer for that.
I was hoping, so I've been talking with another elected official about that, and something that we were hoping to bring up at our April meeting, just to discuss what does that look like? What does parking look like for the events? And how are we gonna manage the entire thing that is Perot? So that's discussions that we're hoping to have on the first.
As long as it's on everybody's radar, that's what matters, I think.
Is our city council meeting? I forget the date. 1st of April, that's when.
April 6th.
The 6th, that's it, that's the one.
So then maybe you can come and tell us.
And
what
I
it is
can
about.
provide an update for that one too for you guys, and or some direction. Hopefully we can figure it out before our next meeting. But again, do want to have those conversations.
A couple of things that are not on here that I needed to update on that happened after our committee meeting. I did speak to Amy Leake, previous chair of our committee, and her dad happens to supply the hay for Marble Festival. I'm waiting to hear back from him. She said she would get that conversation rolling with him, since what she told me was he does only have a flip phone, so he doesn't get texts and stuff like that. So hopefully I will hear back from him before our next meeting. If not, I'll reach out again, but I'll have an answer about hay for our next meeting. There's still plenty of time to buy hay or do something else for the Derby race.
We don't have any bales of hay we're gonna need.
So yes, the from Mike at the police department, he told me 1,300 to 1,800. So I just went with that 1,300 number. I like lower numbers means lower costs. But like I said, we'll see how much that would cost, because the cost of hay have been astronomical in the past, but that was from a different hay guy, if you will. So we'll see what, I guess Mr. Fountain can do for us. All right.
And then if that falls through too, I might have connections, but I won't find out until the end of May, so.
Probably
just-
hay and corn
That sounds really
connections.
sketchy.
Don't worry about it, right? Everyone's got a guy, and might have a corn and hay guy, you know?
May.
That's what I say, just let me know how it goes, and then, like I said, I'll be with some family here at the end of May, and that's who the corn and hay guy is. So-
That's a lot of hay.
There was
Yeah.
discussion about tires.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I haven't went to the recycling place yet to see.
Yeah, but Pam had a great idea too with the tires, which I
Is that
think
an
would be
option
great.
for that lot bid?
I think it would be an option. I'm sure the city has tires laying around too. Like Carly was saying, the police goes through them and so forth, but regardless, I imagine we can talk to the recycling center. Maybe not the whole track, because who wants to throw around a bale of hay or a freaking
That's
spare
right.
tire,
Sure,
but
that's
but
There are
at least there are options, correct?
So bottom line, if anybody has any agricultural needs, seed or anything,
Correct.
First,
before we go
may
anywhere else.
or may not.
May.
No.
Just saying, just come to you first to see if that relationship is developed. So.
And I'll throw this out there too, just for the record here. Most of the tire shops, it is a very, very large expense for them to dispose of used tires.
Yeah.
So that if we have somewhere to store them, it's not gonna be a,
Well, that's why we were hoping the recycling center, because they take tires, and we were hoping that we could just rent them for the day and then return them back.
Return them back.
Take them for the day.
Take them for the day, thank you, and give them back. So that's why they do take them, and it's 5 minutes from downtown, so not very close.
Next update that's not on this sheet was, we did have the Shamrock Shenanigans, that was on March 14th, before St. Patrick's Day. So we were able to raise from 10% of Penley Creek Brewing's, sales for the day, half of vendor fees for the day, and then a matching contribution from the Atlantic Coast Conservancy, $1,072 for the Impact Club through Rotary. So they pack bags for kids at schools, do a bunch of different things in the community. So I think for one day, raising over $1,000 is pretty good for that event on Stegall. So,
Well done.
we will be meeting, I say we, so me, Mandy from the ACC, and then Dana Callan, who will represent Rotary, will be meeting at ACC at 1:30 on Tuesday. You know, little photo op, throw it in the paper maybe. So, Thursday. So if anyone wants to come, but, talk amongst yourselves, don't be making a quorum.
I think you deserve to spotlight on that one, so.
Yeah. And I will say, the Hannah family enjoyed themselves thoroughly at the event. It was great to sit there on Stegall, listen to music, but then also to go around downtown, shop, look what everyone has, We got a lot of great ideas with Easter coming up. Jack had a wonderful section in his store with a whoopee cushion. So if you are interested, he has all the whoopee cushions there. But it was just fun to be able to walk around with the family and shop and hang out in our downtown.
All right, so next things from promotions committee that we possibly would need to vote on. I know Carly has been pushing for this, so I guess we'll go ahead and vote on it. Katie L. from Lovelolly Salon submitted the saying to be put on, different merge, possibly murals, but we need to discuss it, see what y'all think. So if you've ever been to different cities, you may see these different sayings, and of course I cannot think of one. If you went to Lawrenceville or Athens or something, there's always some catchy something. So Katie L. suggested stay a spell, which I really like. I just wanted to see what you guys thought, and we could maybe adopt it as a downtown Jasper saying, for lack of a better word. Thoughts?
Uh,
I have the backing of Carly with this, by the way.
adopt.
I would say it could be used, but defining where it has to be, or needs to be, or wants to be used is hopefully for another discussion. Like, just like one goes, like,
I don't think it's for a logo, it's maybe just like, if we did a flyer or something for different events we have, and it'd be like, stay a spell in Jasper. And why stay a spell? Because this is what's going on.
hashtag,
Yeah,
kind of like that thing.
yeah, not super
Not a side
flat.
or
Was it what Lavonia's that had the? And I was trying to look it up real quick, but have some pie or something like that.
Something.
Yeah. I forget what it was. I think theirs was something about pie. Have some pie. Stop and have a slice of pie or something like that.
Is that one of those other things that you might want to get the public's feedback on, or no?
I mean, we did at our first,
That came out of
that came out of that.
Okay.
That was one of the questions on that little survey that we put out that time, back in November.
So board, it's been asked if you would like to make a motion for the stay a spell saying to be adopted for marketing materials. Is that
There we go.
so moved?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed, same. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, KDL, for coming up with that and
Good stuff.
contributing to that meeting. Second item for a possible vote, annual naming rights for Perot Park stage have come up multiple times with multiple people. And so this came out of our promotions committee, to be possibly submitted for council approval. If we are wanting to, if that's something that we're wanting to do. And I don't even know if we did do that, if, the money from that would even come to the DDA. I hope it would, or at least part of it. But, something to discuss, something to possibly vote on, so that, because it would come down to council, we don't own that. So, I didn't know what y'all thought.
I've had a conversation with the mayor about this briefly. There was a follow-up call that was going to happen subsequent to that conversation. I was gonna save this for closing, but I think all of our hearts are heavy over what transpired last week at our VA hospital and the loss of a worker there. And needless to say, that's taken up a lot of, I think, city council and our staff's attention over the past week. So I haven't had a chance to follow back up with the mayor on that, but I'll do that. And then I'll update the board accordingly if you're good with that.
That's fine.
I do want to add, so from a procedural perspective, one of the things that I talked with the mayor about and some of the staff is anytime you have a city asset, facility, et cetera, it's a publicly owned thing, so a stage or et cetera. So a lot of times we don't necessarily charge for certain things, et cetera. So the hype, the excitement, all the good stuff about Perot and then the stage, amphitheater, I reached out to a friend of mine in Woodstock, city manager. I got their RFP template that they did for theirs, because what you have to do is anytime that you are going to put forth something that's going to receive some sort of monies, you have to go through a formal process. So part of what I was going to update the council on is if something transpires that this is what they want to pursue, we're bound by having to do a request for proposals, because we can't just say, well, so-and-so is so-and-so, and let's just do this. We have to submit it out, and the best proposal wins in terms of their initial one, I think it was a 10-year agreement they had with an entity, and so it was coming up pretty soon for renewal. So good stuff, good things. good opportunities to have that otherwise years ago we never would have thought we had to be able to talk about something like this. So I think it's really good.
For sure.
So a private event is what you're saying would not be able to have it if it was to be rented and be paid for. And
No, you
everything.
can, we just have to create a whole new process because
Right.
we've never done it before.
Right.
So now with the excitement of this, there's a whole new, and I will admit that I'm really intentional about being incremental. I think it's very important to see how things transpire and play out. I know a lot of times that even staff and or elected may get frustrated, but typically what you don't want to do is create expectations that otherwise you don't know how it's going to play out. So all these things that are new and exciting, I want to be able to let folks know that, believe it or not, we've never had Perot Park open to the scale before. So it's important for us too to make sure that we do things the correct way and incrementally grow into it. So even in terms of what the spillover is going to be for our other venues, whether it's Doris Wigington, whether it's City Park, whether it's Lee Newton, all these things, you're going to have this halo effect that you may have a lot of excitement about Perot, but it may lead to others. And that's when we had to do a comprehensive approach and say, hey, it's going to start with Perot, but ultimately how we're going to apply this to all of our facilities.
That's all for whatever we're on, promotions.
Good job, promotions committee.
Yeah, I mean, and I was gonna add to that I know our promotions committee's doing a lot of the heavy lifting here lately, so thank you all for what you're doing. Appreciate it very much.
Well, I tried to bounce one on another committee, but the corn and hay, but
I'll take, well, you got it.
You kind of
He's
did.
got it. Economic development has it.
May have it.
May have they. Thank you all very much. Funding budget update. The only thing I really have here is, kind of alluded to this a minute ago, is just, and it's kind of funny that Brandon just talked about this, the kind of wait and see approach. I just want us to, have a little bit of patience with developing the funds for the projects that we've, approved and budgeted for this year. I don't think there's any shame in, I think it's easy to take a task worksheet like what we have and feel like, oh my gosh, we gotta get all this done today, right? But the reality is we don't. There's a lot of time left in the year and into next year that we can work on these initiatives. It's a 1 to 5 year plan. It's not a 1 day plan. And so, let's give ourselves some grace as far as, continuing to have conversations with our potential partners, seeing what kind of commitments they can make to us, and then sort of see where we're at and develop a thing. I know I'm the kind of person, I want to check all the boxes today, but I know everybody's diligent in having those conversations. And if you're someone that can't get to yours for whatever reason, please let me know. And either I or some other board members will step up, but that is kind of a priority right now that we get our funding in place, especially for our concert series. So any comments, thoughts on that?
But is there a update on what we have gotten, like money wise?
I don't have one yet, no. There's not a lot. I don't know that we've received any funds, to be honest with you
I
yet.
turned in a
Like
check today.
actual funds. How much was that?
It was just 1,000 from a sponsor.
Okay, so
I haven't turned in mine yet, so I
I know several requests for checks have been made, and those are in the process of, those organizations sending in those funds. And so, and I know there's also some follow-up work, at least that I know I need to do on conversations I've already had, just to see, finalize those one way or the other.
Yeah.
So, all good.
Me too.
All right, I know Mr. Douglas is sitting in for Miss Carly today. Thank you for being with us while she travels to South Georgia for some training. So, Mr. Douglas, we'll turn it over to you, sir.
Absolutely. So, as ill prepared as I am, I do believe that y'all had already addressed some of the notes she has provided. I guess for me to, update our report. So at this point, I think she just wanted to encourage everyone to attend the Main Street cleanup on May 9th. I believe that Councilmember Hannah and Carly is going to be there. Let's see here. There's also, I think, something about if there's going to be a designated person that is going to be the lead on differentiating, I guess, vendors that may have similar business products, and who's going to be that person to, I guess, say yay or nay. And perhaps that may be an April board meeting matter to bring up. And let's see. I apologize, I'm not sure if she just randomly puts these out here or if y'all discuss in between.
I've got a copy of what she's.
Okay. And I think there's some training requirements, Main Street accreditation. So if you don't know if you've met the training requirements, please get with Carly to let her verify. And let's see here. And
So if you do get one and you got one in mind, and I'm looking at one right now, and it's about storytelling and some of the things I'm doing, it's gonna be in Fayetteville, I think. I've got the date, but anyways, run along what I'm doing and I'll make learn some different ideas. Do we just tell Carly and she sets it up, or how do we do what we do?
should, but I think if that's gonna fall in line with the satisfied training requirements through. So if it's,
If she sent it to me, she just
Okay.
approved, so.
so if that's the case, then just let her know and it can get handled. And apparently we need new inserts for the sandwich boards. And that if there's someone who's taking the lead on that.
So,
I know what she means. I'll get with her on that.
Okay.
So, I know she sent out emails to everybody about the payment situation, right? About the 10 days. I think that's an important thing. So let's be respectful of their policy as far as getting those in plenty of time so that they get those payments out. One additional question when it came to vendors, I think this was also emailed, but about the conflicting product being offered by a Main Street business issue, which is always something that we have to consider. This one particular was an empanada restaurant vendor that wants to offer those. They say theirs are different than the corn versus flour.
Fried versus baked.
Fried pies, I think they were told fried pies, but they want to bring their empanadas. Just thought I'd throw that out there for y'all's conversation. Sounds like a very similar item to what Station 10 offers, so.
Should we, like, with things like that, should we ask, like, the competing business and be like, are you cool with this? Is this different enough or not? Or is that too much?
It's a great idea.
Because that's how I would go about it. Like, if someone,
It's a great idea.
you know, I don't know, if I sold, I don't know,
Do you have any issues
Italian
with this?
sandwiches and someone wanted to sell them, you would come ask me, like, is this something that you're okay with? I mean, I would appreciate that as a business owner, but.
Yeah, I agree with that. Good approach.
Well, the process of that is, and I agree that that should be asked about the thing, but Carly's asking for one person to help you on that committee to decide on what vendor to come in. If you have to question every person that comes in with every vendor application, that process gets kind of.
I don't think so, because I mean, Main Street is pretty small. Like, when you think about it as how many businesses are down there. And I don't mind doing something like that. I don't think it's a whole lot of work to go in a place and be like, hey man, this is who wants to come in. And especially if that Main Street business is a sponsor, I think we should elicit their,
That's the key.
Thoughts?
If they're sponsoring, I don't have a problem.
if they're not a sponsor,
I have a problem.
Understood. Yeah, I think there are some black and white issues and then there's some gray issues, right? Like this one's kind of more in the gray area and maybe that's when we use that approach. The only question is going to be, is there a process for this? So we don't have the process question. So I'll get with Carly on that, and we'll figure out a way to.
I think it would be a
Some
perfect
finalize
opportunity
it.
too, if they're not a sponsor, and be like, hey, this is what's happening. If you'd like to be a sponsor and you want your voice heard, this is the way to do it.
Sure.
Maybe saying it more eloquently. Maybe I shouldn't be ahead of this.
Last year, didn't we change the process though for
We did.
there? Okay.
We voted on it.
Yeah, we voted on no conflicts
No conflicts, okay.
with Main Street businesses. Again, this comes down to, do I know the difference between a Colombian and Argentinian empanada? I do not.
Does anybody?
Maybe it's the same thing. I don't have any idea, but at any rate,
Chicken
I'll
wings,
get,
chicken wings are pretty common. So when somebody wants to sell chicken wings in a restaurant, and somebody wants to come in with a food truck that's got chicken wings on their menu, that's pretty easy.
yeah,
Rocco sells chicken wings, I mean, that's the thing. So it's got to be specifically right or not. And if you're gonna have that competition, you have the competition or you don't.
well,
I
as
wanted not to have a competing business, but who's gonna police it and who's gonna make that decision?
that was Carla's question too, just who
That's
makes
what
the
we don't,
decision?
I think we need to help Carly with that decision as well.
Okay, would that,
We can make the decision to do or not do, but we need to make that decision, give her the power to do it.
give her the power to make those
If
decisions?
that's what we're gonna rely on her to do.
Okay.
Because she's asked in her request to have somebody that's what she's asking. So we need to have that order.
Just empower her to do it?
No matter what the decision is, I'm not against one way or the other, we decide as a board to do that, but she needs to have that authority to do that. Because, she's got a meeting planned next week with the one who's requested, and she needs to have the power punch to say no or yes.
That's a good point, Marty. I think it may be like a layered thing where she has the decision. If she wants input, she goes to the promotions committee. If the promotions committee's undecided, they come to the board, right?
Right.
And we can do it that way. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think you're right. I think that's, I don't know what we voted on specifically in the past, I don't know if we've got it. Does anybody even have it written down? It's in the minutes, Bob.
It is. I don't remember the exact language, but I know it had to do with just non-competing. But then there's issues like this where it's not, someone's got to, like you said, someone's just going to make a decision.
She needs to back up, she don't have to quit with everyone that comes in and says, because, she has to get an application, look at it based on what they, give us your menu. Well,
Okay.
they sell french fries with chili on them, I mean, well, so does, you can't, she's gotta have some kind of, because I got a lot of festivals, a lot of events, and they're always competing against themselves, but they're not always competing against maybe the restaurants that are competing.
And a lot of the restaurants, especially when we have an event, they have a special menu anyway, so they might not even be selling what they typically do.
Should we have a motion?
Board,
Process to go from Carly to promotions to full board. Make a motion to set a new process for Carly to, if she is having conflicted or doesn't know which way to go to promotions committee, and then if promotions committee can't go to a decision, then full board.
so basically what you're saying is, like, she would ask, text me, Brian and Marty. And if it's a 2-1 vote, that's the way it goes, without further board interference, let's say. I hate to have all the power here, do you? That's what I feel like it
She's
is.
asking,
Well,
she's
then-
asking the person
then-
to decide to do it or not. She's asking, she asked for one person, I think, so we want one person to be on, the person to help her make that decision, or ultimately it's the committee, that's what, I guess, we need to decide that.
I think that since she's event coordinator, that should be her call, but that's me. I think you get in situations, with, especially those of us that have a business on Main Street, you don't want, or those of you that have a business off of Main Street, do you want people being like, well, that Marty Callahan told me I couldn't come. What a piece, you know? You don't want that. I don't want that either.
So, motion
We
to,
wanna
Carly make the final decision.
Restate the motion
Give Carly the power to make the final
or
decision.
withdraw? I'd like to withdraw my motion.
Yeah. I make a motion to give Carly the final say.
In conjunction with the vote, how we voted in the past.
Carly's asked for help, we're saying that we will give it back to her. That's what we're saying.
Yes, you feel comfortable doing this.
So right now we have a motion on the floor to give Carly full authority to make these types of decisions when it comes to vendor selection. Do we have a second?
I don't know what we should do.
Not having a second.
Should we table it until we talk to Carly?
That's what I believe.
Well, I think that's what I
I'd rather do that.
But the problem is, when is our next meeting?
Not before the next downtown line.
Well, maybe she just comes to our next promotions committee and we discuss it.
Any decisions that need to be made between now and the first concert can still be made.
Yeah.
We don't have to vote on that necessarily tonight if y'all don't feel like that's necessary. So you can still make decisions about these individual circumstances.
So, I told her I wasn't gonna talk, because obviously I have a very different experience and very different managing philosophy. Some of you've heard before, some of you've not. I'm always going to be more possessive of the brick and mortar on your main street, period. So if there was any sort of question asked, staff member, elected, volunteer, whomever to me, I'm always gonna be possessive to say, any question's always gonna go in favor of the main street business enterprise. They've invested brick and mortar, period. If that alienates or it upsets a vendor that is coming into for an event that otherwise may add a certain ambiance or we enjoy it or whatever, I'm okay with that philosophy because again, being possessive of the businesses that are investing on your main street versus otherwise. So if that helps or hurts, if she were to come to me and say, hey, there's a question about this product or this whatever from this one versus this one, my immediate response is gonna be favor the main street brick and mortar. That's just my simplistic reasoning.
I agree with
Yeah.
that. I think that's how we voted
I
last
think
time.
what we're trying to avoid is this, decision by a group every time there needs to be a decision. I think we just need to streamline that where not everybody needs an email about every single situation that comes up that's not quite as clear as it should be.
And I will say
Allow
this,
someone to make those decisions.
chairman and board, again, I know y'all have heard me say this, and this is not popular, and I'm not trying to upend years and years of doing things. Because clearly these started prior to my tenure as city manager, but of course, coming from another jurisdiction, we 100% would not allow outside vendors anyway. So that's why it does get a little tricky, in my opinion, even at the staff level, because there's some places that do have vendors, there's some that, I know Ackworth, if you came to Main Street, if you came to an event, early on, it was Main Street businesses. And the idea was, well, they're not participating, there's not this, there's not enough this. I get it. But there was this corporate philosophical decision made that the events are gonna live and die based upon the participation by the businesses. And it's not very popular. There's an element of risk of, well, we don't have enough of this, will people show up, will this, some of these things, I think as we continue to mature and as we continue to grow into some of these events, I do think that it will become a little easier, but we're in this lull of still wanting to make sure that we, steady on and press forward. So it is going to continue to be difficult because I will tell you at the staff level, if we're dealing with a business that is not in the Main Street boundary and we alienate them, then we then have to deal with them on a different level as well. So I know and I respect y'all not wanting to alienate them from your own business enterprise, but from the city's perspective, we have to be cognizant of the fact that, we can't tell another business, hey, forget it, and then they go back to their other jurisdiction, they're going back to their same business location that we may then have to deal with within the corporate city limits of Jasper. So I think it is a tricky situation, but that's why I think that it's important just to say, hey, if there's any question, and there's going to be the element of trust of saying, hey, it was just vague enough where it could be too similar, and we just say, nope, you can't do that. I mean, they're the ones coming into the event, and that may have a ripple effect, but that's an easier option than not to legislate by every single decision. I get it.
Well, as a Main Street business, I will go ahead and say this. I 1000% agree with that. So I would be okay with empowering Carly to make the decision, but with very clear guidelines,
She's policy.
And that is to say, as a florist, I do not care if another florist sets up a booth at a downtown line. As long as they pay to be there, I'm fine with that. But I just don't want them to sell what I sell. So if they want to be there, so my thought process is, if we have, it's plain, that if we have the empanada place on Main Street, if that business wants to come and they want to provide food or drinks or whatever it is that they sell, that is great. But we have an empanada place on Main Street that is their entire business is centered around that. So it's an empanada. There's no difference in a bison burger and a beef burger. It's still a burger.
Well, right. I think what Mr. Douglas was referring to, though, is maybe even a more stringent policy that involves no outside vendors, to make it very clear.
No, that's unpopular.
That
That's been vetted because I said it, I think in 24, 25, and I think the board has collectively said, no, we want to continue to move forward as is. I was just saying, that's what makes it a little more tricky in having to seek feedback.
Sure.
It's a heck of a lot easier
It's not as clean.
when you just say, boom, because then the board's not dealing with the decision, staff's not, it's just cut and play. So the reason I said that it's a little more, it is we're dealing with every business in the city, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, why can't I do that? Well, blah, blah, blah. And we still have to provide good customer service because, believe it or not, I'm accountable to 5 council members, and I have to make sure of being good customer service.
And it might already be teed up in what you voted on last year, because I remember there being 3 different tiers.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't read any of the language, I just remember y'all approving it. So maybe if we pull that back up too and just check and make sure that it's.
It was like within the city, within the county, and then
Okay.
outside vendors.
Yeah.
It was like Main Street, city,
And
county.
yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we take a look at that, and if we need to edit it to make it more stringent, to say competing business, X.
Okay.
But maybe we just pull that policy, I guess it was. that
Look
we
at
had,
it in April.
And just take a look at it in April to see.
Yeah, because at this point, I know we've already gotten money from some vendors and stuff, so it's, yeah. But hammering it out for next month, pull up those minutes and see what we actually said, since it was over a year ago, I'm not gonna remember that.
I just remember it being a tiered system.
You weren't even here.
Yeah, and I remember it being a tiered system, and I thought, oh, that's a great way to get, you get first priority, second priority, third, fourth.
Yeah, the problem there becomes the timing issue, like if a Main Street business hasn't signed up yet, but they're still within the deadline, and this person comes in, then
Yeah, true.
you give it to, you know what I'm saying, so.
But that's where
I
we can
see
take a look at it next
There's
week.
lots of variables, you just open up more variables that way.
But we can add those timeframes in there.
Sure.
This is up until
Yeah,
60 days before the event, you know, whatever that might be. Or we can write that down, put it in there.
So what committee would do that? Not mine.
I'm happy to work on that. Don't-
Yeah, I'll help you out with that, Parrish.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
like
not
to
a
look
big
at
deal.
it too.
That's not a big-
I don't remember it.
I'm happy to work on it.
I do have a good note about Downtown Live. I'd like to, we have a Pickens collective meeting on Thursday morning, and we have that whole group going to the kids area, pay for it,
Nice.
staff it and everything. So,
Oh, great job, Bobby.
sweet, that's already been handled if we have the money for everything else. But there's no money that needed. That's taken care of.
Good.
That's great.
Okay, Mr. Douglas, all good?
Thanks, so.
Any other comments, questions from the board?
So the question I got about the cleanup day, is that just on Peach Park or is that everything in town or where is this going to put you?
Yet to be determined.
Yeah, yet to be determined. There's been some ongoing conversations last week that I wasn't able to be part of, but they are looking for volunteers. I am going to go out and purchase some window washing things, and I'm going to wash windows, outside windows for businesses within the Main Street boundary. I think there's some ongoing discussions right now of what they're trying to do, but we're going to discuss that at our April council meeting to see what is best and highest use, I guess you
Well,
could say.
and I posted, I don't know if anybody saw this, but I was going to clean the sidewalk from Finley Creek all the way down to my store.
Yeah.
And that's the only
Biggest
person.
Vehicle's got a big thing going on, they've got big sponsors now, they've got somebody to help them advertise their event. So I haven't looked at specific of the date, but I think it's the May 9th.
May 9th event.
They're doing, I think this is kind of coordinated
It's-
with that day. Is it National Cleanup Day or something?
I don't know.
I mean, there's always one that, I think it is, but KBB's got something going on, we got something today for, you didn't see it.
They do, yeah. They've got it's an Olympic type situation where you
Yeah.
can earn points
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get prizes.
So it's,
Oh, yeah, the trash.
Oh, the
Olympics.
good trash Olympics.
so it's kind of a party and stuff today.
So we're waiting to see what more on the sidewalk.
More to come.
Okay.
More to come. They're still trying to,
All right.
they ran into some issues with even the window washing thing with getting business owners to
Yeah. just
grant
like-
permit. Same thing, you know exactly what it's
Yep,
all
I do know
about,
what you're
so.
talking about.
So,
Let's make one sweat.
Yeah, I
Oh.
figure that's low
Risk.
risk and high impact, you know, done like a nice set of clean windows to look out of, so.
yeah. Yeah,
Tom's like,
the thought is nice, you know, the logistics we gotta figure out.
Correct, yeah, and I'm just gonna go around and with my bucket and everything else and just go handle it, get a squeegee and, start getting who's on the list.
The 360 West Church Street.
Gotcha.
Place to start.
Yeah.
All right, gang, next DDA meeting to be held April 27th at 5:30 here. Who has responsibilities for city council next month? Going to the city council meeting?
I got the thing right here, let's see. Marty,
Marty, good, April 6th. Okay.
I got that.
Not first, April 6th.
If there's nothing else to come before the board, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Before we do, one more thing. The city of Jasper downtown is now an official Main Street America city. And that has not been mentioned yet today, but Carly, I believe, posted it March the 10th to the Downtown Jasper, Georgia Facebook page. But I wanted it at part of this meeting, I wanted to document it. We are a downtown, Main Street America accredited city now.
First step of many to come.
The first step of many to come. So thank you to every single person that has worked on that. It's amazing.
It's a big time.
Big great
Also, I was supposed to let you guys know I talked to him once, and we're all good for right by his little.
Good.
Okay, did you?
All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
So
So we have a second. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. We are adjourned 6:32.